Hello, this is Grant. Welcome back to another episode of Dead Rising 2 Master Run. So in this one, we're going to pick up the pharmacist, and we're going to take Snowflake and Lenny back to the safe house. And after that, we're going to actually get started on the main game. So I'm going to go over here and heal up, as well as grab the cow skull, or bull skull, I'm not sure, which is actually an item I wasn't familiar with until I think my second run through. So this is one of the things that was nice by me doing it again. I learned some cool tricks. So there's this bull skull, and you put it on, and you can actually combine this with, I believe, the motor oil, whatever's right next to it here. And what's important is, since we're so slow, we can actually use this to charge. As you saw there, unfortunately it's a heavy weapon, so if you take any damage you will drop it, and it's very slow to put on. But it just improves your efficiency so much, because you can just plow through zombies. Your sprint helps so much, because at level 3 you're so slow, and they nerfed the skateboard. If you watched my playthrough of 1, I pretty much always had a skateboard on me because you can use it to move a lot quicker. In this game, skateboard takes really long to kind of get going. It's very imprecise, and it still breaks in like 2 hits, so it's not really a factor. They do though have this, although it's not really available in most places. Or they have like the carts you can push, which do basically the same thing. And those are thankfully all over the game. Big thing here is I'm just waiting for Lenny. You can actually, Snowflake will always transition with you no matter where she is. But Lenny, who's slower, I need to make sure he's there. So I always thought this was hilarious, because they're looting the store, and these are actually the guys that run the pawn shops around Fortune City. You can buy Zombrex and stuff from. But you basically show up, and they start threatening you, right? I mean, there's 3 of them, or I think, and 1 of you. But just as you see when we get out of this cutscene, the silliness of that is pretty crazy. I love it. So I guess that counts as like part cosmetic, part weapon, because it's really funny, especially when you get the fire one. It shows up in cutscenes, looks really badass. I would not pick a fight with this dude who walks in with a bull skull on his head, a tiger, and another dude with a sniper rifle. I think you're a little outclassed. I think the tiger alone would be, I'd back off, because Snowflake just absolutely tears them a new one, as does this thing. Just instantly dead. It's got a really powerful little melee attack, I gotta say that. It's really useful for the chef boss fight. In retrospect, it looks like Snowflake doesn't actually do anything in this fight. My last time through, she just devastated these guys. There we go, yeah. Just one hits him. So this is the key to open the door to get some Zombrex. It's just to require you to kill these guys so you can get it. But we're... Okay, Lenny shot my skull off. Thanks. If you're familiar with Dead Rising, you know that there's in the start menu, there is a notebook. And it'll tell you what survivors you've saved, died, and just different things about them. And they always have random text saying like where you found them or what happened to them, but some of them have descriptions. And particularly this woman right here, it talks about how she's addicted to nasal spray. And I was just wandering through, and I was surprised. I don't know how Chuck picked up on that, or you that it was even a thing that they bothered to include. It's a little odd. But I'm gonna go and kind of break my skull here, because we're gonna go pick up another toy for Katie. You can get nearly all of them in the Royal Flush Plaza. The only ones you can't are the squirt gun, and I believe, yeah, I think that's it, besides the one painting that you can only get during one mission and have one shot at. I feel like a lot of times Dead Rising's, the way they handle difficulty is like with the gifts. All but one is really easy. I mean, I guess you could talk. The tiger's not easy, but now you know a 100% success rate, so it is. But then you have this one really hard to get item that only spawns in one area at a certain time in the game. It's just like, It's like, why even require the rest? But, oh well. We're only really doing it for the PP. You can also do stuff like there's a bunch of Zombrex posters around I consider doing where you spray paint them and you get 1,000 PP and so much for the set, but I don't know, I didn't want to make this into a collectible guide. This is about just kind of talking about how to play the game properly and cool things you can do, what's good, what's bad. So essentially we're going to go over here. I thought there was a squirt gun in here originally, but then I remembered it's not. You actually get it. We'll get this in the next episode probably at Moe's Imagination. There's one that always spawns, and we have to go there anyway. So you can get the stick pony here and the toy helicopter. Neither are particularly noteworthy. Toy helicopter's got some cool combo weapons, but that's it. Really, we're just going to end up taking one of those giant stuffed animals. You just have to bring every giant stuffed animal to Katie. That's a big part of her gifts, and they're by far the hardest because they can't break at all. So you'll see me on the run back. There's a seam at the bottom, and that's the first thing to show if it's taking any damage. So if that tears, you know you have to drop it and start over. They always have some cool outfits. At this point, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go for my tuxedo helmet combo, or if I want to just like do default chuck all the time, or just grab every time I see a new clothing object, grab that. But I ended up taking this. In retrospect, I should have taken the bowl because there's actually another pink elephant right outside the safe room, as I'll see later on. But we gotta go here and dodge as many zombies as we can without dropping this thing. Heavy items in Dead Rising are so annoying because they'll just... It's really easy for the zombies to do like a very fast instant attack that doesn't do hardly any damage, but because it hit you, you drop it. And then it takes a long time to pick the item back up again, and they'll do another like really light hit. Which you're not dying, it's just you can't pick it up. It's so frustrating. It's just too much. I wish they had some way to do it. Even if it was like I had a magazine that could carry that made you not drop stuff constantly, I would carry it. Gosh. But we're kind of cutting a little bit close here. We do need to give Katie her Zombrex at 7 a.m. every day. If you do not, she turns into a zombie and Sullivan shoots her. So we don't want that. And if you lose Katie, you lose all the main cases in the game. So you cannot have that happen. If you play the Frank West version of this game, you have to give it to Frank West instead because he's still infected. That's kind of cool little substitute. I've never seen anything really by that version of the game, but it's kind of cool that you have basically all the same scoops, but from different angles. Because since you're not Chuck Green and Frank's the reporter, they handle things differently, especially when later on here Chuck gets accused of causing the outbreak, which I thought was a really smart way to explain why so many people want to kill him. But looks like we made it. We're just going to wait for Denise and Lenny to get here. And then we just have to give our gifts to Katie, and we'll be doing good jobs on leveling so far. Alright, awesome. That's an example of Snowflake can be anywhere transition. You'll notice like it shows her age is 3 there. I thought that was... It makes sense, but I think it's kind of funny.
Where on earth did you find him?
I had forgotten I had the mask on.
There's still people alive out there.
Something about having some like silly outfit and having them still talk completely normal to you is just so funny in a weird, dumb way. So, like in 1, you're going to get most of your experience by saving survivors and such. So, every time we come back to the safe room, we're going to level up by leaps and bounds. Luckily, we got some health. Health and item slots are by far the most important things, especially here at the beginning of the game. Speed is pretty good. Other than that, you have stuff like throw distance and range attack damage. I don't fully know what that means, if that affects guns or just like you throwing stuff, or I don't know. Really, the speed is... I like the speed, but you need enough slots to take it some hits, and you need item slots to actually be carrying all the things you need. Like later on, there's a point where we're going to be carrying like 5 or 6 magazines all to help out, and you don't have much left to carry weapons. Gosh. So we have a big cutscene here. Usually when you give Katie the Zombrex, it acts as a case. They don't call it that, but it's a convenient way of you being around for something important when you need to. Like this news report here where they talk about how the zombies got out, and they actually accuse Chuck, as well as introducing the reporter here, who is going to be an important character going forward. So obviously this is not Chuck, unless I guess that would be just when you weren't playing. That would have been really weird if they just didn't include that. But no, he's being set up. They took his uniform that he wore during the game show and his helmet, and then faked the explosive. I don't know if they say ever who it literally was that planted the explosive. I always kind of suspected that it was one of the twins. Particularly when you meet the twin on the elevator after the game show. I assume she's coming back from setting that up, and that's why they do give you that really weird stare.
What? That's complete bullshit. That was not me.
I like how he just throws down the thing of hot coffee and nothing splashes. Ah, that phrase. I always thought you just got accused of starting this mass zombie attack that's killing thousands, and when he gets accused of, he's like, well, not on your life. Is that really a thing to say? To me, it implies that, oh, I wouldn't bet on my life, but I would bet it on your life.
I think I know why. It's not the first time members of Cure have been falsely accused of being involved with an outbreak. We were in town protesting that awful show you were on.
Do you believe me?
I don't know what to believe. But you sure don't seem like a terrorist. And I know we weren't involved.
Look, we have 3 days before the military rolls. That's how much time I have to prove.
So this is basically setting up the premise.
The one at the hotel.
Like I said, I think this is a really cool idea to explain a lot of the situations in the game.
Had a source. Whoever that is,
It makes a lot more sense that
I need to find out where she
someone's blaming you and they're trying to kill you because you caused all this, rather than in one, it's just, oh, the clown went crazy, started killing people,
I don't want her to worry.
and having that happen several times. So I think that was pretty clever, how it fits together. But we're gonna be off here. So now, as we leave, after giving Katie these gifts, Sullivan's gonna give us the maintenance room keys, which means we can start to craft combo weapons. And combo weapons are something I don't really know what I think of them. The majority of them are completely useless, but there's definitely a select few that are very important. We'll use the defiler, knife gloves, the punching nail gloves. The spiked bat is just our bread and butter. But there's certain other combo weapons, because you need to bring weapons to a repair bench, it's just not really practical. I had my girlfriend over when I was recording this, and when I handed Katie the marbles, she thought I was giving Chuck was giving his daughter a bag of weed. It's like, man, that would be a whole different game. Probably a better parenting strategy, though, and then giving her a tiger that you just got attacked by. But I don't know, maybe that's just the thing you do in this universe. Anyway, combo weapons could vary. It can be really hard to make some of them, even if they are useful. Like when the classic one is the chainsaw paddles, which is a canoe paddle with 2 chainsaws in the end. And the issue with that is it's a heavy weapon, so you drop it. It doesn't have very high durability for how hard it is to make, and since it's so large, it just absolutely tears apart zombies, which is the point. It's awesome. But it's really hard to make it and actually get it anywhere you want it to go. I think they fixed that in 3, where you could craft stuff a little bit more on the run. You didn't need to have literally the supplies all the time. Because a lot of the time, I'm not going to go out of my way to make half the stuff that is around. Basically, you always make the spike bat here. Leaving the safe room, the stuff you can make our spike bat is always here. Or the IED, which is the propane tank with nails, you can always make here. You can make the drill bucket, which is basically a hat that kills zombies when you put it on their head. Not really useful at all. And if you grab a fire axe from the safe room, there's a sledgehammer you can grab to make the defiler, which is a very useful weapon for both just killing zombie mobs and bosses. It's one of my favorites. If you go a little bit outside, you can also get the knife gloves, which are Bowie knives, and boxing gloves, which are Probably one of the best psychopath weapons. Or their equivalent, you can get MMA gloves and more nails. And those are also very useful to have. And you can make them all pretty easily if you have some downtime. You can set that up. A little thing of note that I did not know my first time through. So you'll notice like when I made the bat, you got a combo card. And that tells you how to make different things, and it lets you get double PP when you get kills with it. I didn't know until like my second time through that you do not need the combo card to make the weapon. If you do not have the combo card and you make the weapon, you'll get what's called a scratch card, which is like this kind of like brown and black version of it. You can fully make the weapon, and it's not any worse. You just won't get the double PP. But you know you're getting the double PP if you see it pop up in red like you do when I kill stuff with a bat. So we got our first set of survivors here, Lashandra and Gordon. If I want to be efficient, it would probably be better to get these guys on the way back, but I don't fully understand how the game handles survivors when you're not in the area. Particularly here where I've activated them because it ran by. But they're not in my party, so I don't think they would use the normal rules for transitioning. So I just don't want to take the risk because they're right here. Here's where I realized, oh hey, I could have just taken that pink elephant. Oh well, but there's this robotic bear. So I'm going to take him and we're going to head back to the safe room, give Kay that. Probably level at least once or twice, and we're in a good spot to continue our journey. You can use this bear for a couple things. You can give him a light machine gun and he'll act like a little sentry turret and shoot things that come near you. It's pretty convenient. But that's another thing where like trying to find a light machine gun and this one is just like not really a common thing that's going to happen. And how often do you need to like guard a spot where you would also be able to set this stuff up? It has its use. Like I could totally see it, depending on if the AI for it was great. It'd be cool if you could take it to a psychopath fight, just put it in a corner. Well, the psychopath doesn't aggro to it, so it just keeps shooting the psychopath for you. That could be neat, but I don't think it would actually handle that well. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, check out one of the links below. Till next time, don't take your zombie safety for granted.